friends, I'm Abby and I have got a new favourite series. I am completely obsessed. There's no, like, I've not written any notes for this. I'm not going to be logical. I'm just obsessed. Completely obsessed with this book series. So it's From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I am now like over midway through the sequel, and I just cannot stop reading. I cannot stop. You all have to read this. Like, you just have to read this book series. Apart from Alan, don't read it. It's not for you. Like, just don't read it, Alan. But everyone else, you have to read this book. You seriously do. Like, if you like books by Sarah J. Maas, then this is for you. This will keep you going between now and the next release by Sarah J. Maas. You will, if you love Sarah J. Maas, you will love this book. I don't think it's possible to like Sarah J. Maas and not like this. I really don't. This is a fantasy romance series, which is very much equal parts fantasy and romance. And that's what you need to know going into it. I know it's classed, it's like in the Goodreads Choice Awards for romance, but it is fantasy romance. Go in expecting 50-50, okay? Because I've heard people say that there are slow bits in this book, and none of it was slow for me, and I'm going in as a fantasy reader. So the bits that I think people have found slow are the world building and character development, which are very common for fantasy books. Okay, so that's what you need to put as your expectations, that it is very much 50-50 fantasy romance, and it is so addictive. Like, these are quite chunky books, they're 600 pages, but oh my god, they're addictive. And like, the world, I really like the fantasy world. It is so interesting, and throughout this book I had so many theories, and like, some of them were right, some of them were not so right, but I felt so clever trying to fit together how it all worked. And you're following our main character Poppy and her new guard Hawk, and in this world there are different creatures. So you have the Ascended, which are very cold, and it's like people go through the process to become an Ascended. And then you have like normal humans, and then you have these creatures called the Craven, which they're just attacking the populace, and so they're like a zombie vampire type thing, and there's no like rhyme or reason in their heads, they're just attacking. And you're following Poppy, and she has the power to sense people's emotions, and she's very important in this kingdom, but you don't quite know why or like what makes her so important. So she's living this life where she can't really communicate with anyone. She's like stuck in her room, protected, and like she's constantly having to wear a veil, and no one can talk to her apart from like her guards and her one handmaiden. And then it's like her realizing what sort of world that she's actually living in, and like breaking out and finding her own identity, and then like the world just expands, and you're like mind blown. People have said that it is slower in the first half. I didn't find that. I was just enjoying the whole ride as we like learned about the world and we learned about the characters, and I was just like, I'm just so happy. And you know when you're just reading and you don't even realise how much you've read, that you'll sit down to read and suddenly you've read 100 pages and you're like, where did that all go? Where did those pages just disappear to? Because that is what happened to me. I was just like, oh, I've finished the whole book. How did that happen? And the last 200 pages, oh my god, they were intense. And so I finished this book and went straight into the second book. I was like, well, I don't have any choice. I just have to know what's going to happen. Like, I need to keep going. I need to just stay in this world. And so I am now 2/3 of the way through the second book, and this one is slower. It is much more it's much more world building and much more like getting to know the characters, and that's fine for me. Like, I'm very happy having all the character interactions. It's just developing the world, and I can see that this one being slightly more plot heavy and then this one being more character driven. Some people might say it's slower, and yes, it is slower, but I'm still just happily going along with it and like loving the world and everything and all the different interactions. And it's great because the world is expanding and you're getting to know it all a bit more and just delving into the whole like history of the world and where it all comes from and just getting to know the characters. And I mean, I'd be happy just having the characters like going to do their food shopping, and I'd still be very happy to read it, but like, I'm so in love with this series. And I believe it's meant to be a 4-book series, and the first 2 are out, with the 3rd book coming out in April. And I am so excited. I don't know what I'm going to do when I finish the 2nd book because I am addicted. You all should go away and read these books and gush about them with me, and just please read them. But not you, Alan. No. If you don't like fantasy, if you don't like fantasy, you won't like this series. And if you don't like romance, then you won't like this series either. So Alan, please go away and not read this. Keep reading The Greatcoats and Send Them Ascends. Just, this is not for you, Alan, okay? But if you like your fantasy with a bit of romance, then please read this. And I would like to thank Vish from Books with V for sending me this book and like skyrocketing this book up my TBR, and also Ina, I believe that's how you pronounce your name. I'm very sorry if I've got that wrong. Ina, for sending me the 2nd book and for telling me like 10,000 times to read this series, because you were so right. You were so right that I was going to love this, and I'm so loving gushing about this series with you. Thank you so much for watching this like blur of gushing emotions. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!